G'day or welcome to RTRC. So, today I wanted very quickly really to give you a quick demo and view, well, kind of first looks of FRSKY's new X14 radio. So there it is. It's nice. It's a bit plasticky, but it's nice. And kind of we'll run through some of the goods, the bads, and my initial first thoughts. So, I think first thing people probably want to know with the X14, how big is it? So, I figure the easiest way, I'm going to get my X20, which, well, this is actually the X20 Pro. I'm going to take this little lead off, and we can do a size comparison for you. And there, whoa, can we see that there? Not a lot in it, really, is there? So, all up. Don't let the pictures fool you. This X14 is a full-size radio. It is not a tiny little Tango type radio. So don't be fooled. It's full-size, but it's kind of nice in its own regard. Now, from everything I've seen with the X14, kind of the target market for this radio is your beginner radio. You know, all up, if I were to buy that radio, excluding the little ELRS module I've popped in the back, and obviously excluding the stand, you're talking £200. That's pretty cheap. And this radio has ethos on it. So in many regards, this is kind of about trying to compete, I guess, with the old X7 or the Q7, whichever one FRSKY had before. It's kind of going for that market. Your beginners who are just getting into the hobby and want a half-decent radio that just does the job. And it's nice. It's light, it's easy, it's comfortable. It does what you would expect it to do. Now, there are a few niggles. But before we get to them, I'm going to talk about the positives, because I'm rambling, I'm conscious I'm rambling. So, the positives. This radio out the box supports the twin protocol receivers. That's very, very important. So effectively the twin protocols are redundant 2.4. It's kind of like you are getting not diversity where you have your 2.4 just switching to the other. It's physically two 2.4 gig channels at the same time with resilience, and it seems to be the way things are moving. What that does mean, this doesn't have the 900 megahertz option. So, you know, if you're into your long range 900s, well, that ain't going to work. But the twin protocol, from what I understand, is very, very similar to ELRS in terms of performance. So you can go both ways. And then for boot, you can plug a module on the back. So it's not really a problem, is it? Now, what I do like about this radio, weight, comfort, superb. It feels good in the hands. I can't complain about it. Everything is where I expect it. It's got trim switches, you know, enough buttons to do everything. And pop that on.
Welcome to Ethos.
Okay, straight into Ethos. Absolutely perfect. And we can actually see I've got Real Flight 9 on here because I've bound it to one of those USB dongles because it's for training. And I guess the other important thing, this also has Bluetooth on it, which means I can use it as a buddy box for that. And that's kind of cool, because in the end, what I really wanted this radio for was a combination of when I'm using the simulator, a little lightweight radio is easier, and when I do training of anyone, quite often for the younger kids when they're being trained, a lightweight radio is better, and this does the trick. So what don't I like? And I guess this is kind of key. It's not a big issue. It's got ethos on it, but unfortunately we don't have touchscreen ethos. We have button only. And in all honesty, it's not a deal breaker, because I've already proven this point. I've copied a model memory straight from my X20 straight onto this. It all works, and I can navigate using these buttons and keyboards very, very easily. So it's not quite as clean as being touch, but I kind of get the point. They needed to bring the costs down, and how are you going to get a sub £200 radio and add all the features of, you know, the X18 and everything that are higher? It's just not going to happen. So it's a problem, but it's not a problem. It's, you know, take it for what it is. It's the cheap end of the market. Now, the other thing which, it's just a curious thing to me, and it's the switch layout. So we've got, well, 3 position, 3 position, 3 position, 3 position. I'm a bit flummoxed by the fact that my trainer switch, so my momentary switch, oh, sorry about that, good old sneezes kicking in. Yeah, it's interesting that on this radio, for whatever reason, your momentary switch on every other FRSKY radio I've ever used is always here. And pretty much that's a standard. Most people put it there. I think Spectrum might have it the other way around. But for some reason, on the X14, they've put it here. And, you know, I'm half inclined to swap this around internally, because I guess where the issue comes from is that if I'm using this as a little backup radio, and I copied a model memory from my X20 onto here, and I use the momentary switches for things, well, all of a sudden it's in the wrong place. And a classic example of that is if I'm flying a heli, and I'll show you one here, and you can see lots of helis behind me. It's quite common on the heli to have your idle up, idle down, or throttle hold on that one, and then your idle switches on that one. And it's a little odd, because suddenly I've got a momentary switch sitting over here, and then I could use that for my idles, but I don't want my hold over here. So it's not a big issue, and it's a matter of 4 screws. I can pop it off and redo things and move switches around. But I'm just curious. It's a bit of an odd one, and maybe the reason is ultimately is that it's targeting the quadcopter market. You know, this is a lovely quadcopter radio. There's no doubt about that. It would work well for that. And maybe they're just targeting that, and feedback is that that's what they're doing. But I kind of feel, why have you broken format? Because it just makes it a little bit trickier if I now copy a model memory across and I'm using this. I'm like, oh, okay, well, my switches aren't where I expect them. So, small problem, not a major problem. Then, what else? So, I already have put release candidate 1 of Ethos 1.5 on this radio. Seems to be working, doing what it's meant to. So, can't complain. I think all up it's quite nice. You know, we've got the ELRS module in the back, because I do fly some of my stuff on ELRS. So I'm quite happy to have that on there. And I think all up, it's not a bad option. You know, if you were new to the hobby, I would jump in and get this. You know, if you don't have, you know, 400 odd pounds plus or higher to pay, you're not going to be unhappy with this. It's a nice radio. It's for the money. It's a very nice radio. And you know, I'm conscious right at the beginning I said plasticky. Well, aluminium. What am I comparing to? But it's fair to say that when I say plasticky, take that with a pinch of salt. The molding quality and everything on this is actually pretty decent, and certainly on a par with any of the more modern FRSKY radios. And by modern, I mean, don't look at the Tyrannus and such. Those are years old. Things have moved on, and the quality of things is so much better these days. So, yeah, there we go. FRSKY X14, I think it's actually pretty blimmin' good value for money. So, you won't regret it. But it does come with a few, that's a bit odd type things. So, there you go, guys. Enjoy. Cheers.